What is the Pennsylvania State Workers Insurance Fund, also known as SWIF? My name is Ryan Stillwell. I am the founder of Stillwell Risk Partners. We're an independent insurance agency, and we help business owners get more value from their insurance policies. So what is the Pennsylvania State Workers Insurance Fund, also known as SWIF? Well, what this is it is the last resort option for workers' comp for business owners in the state of Pennsylvania. To give you some context, a business owner in the state of Pennsylvania has two options to get their workers' compensation coverage. One is through the voluntary market, which is the same way you get your general liability insurance. For example, you take it out to quote with insurance companies and see if they're willing to offer coverage for you. Now, with workers' comp, it can be a little bit more complicated because a lot of times insurance companies are looking for experience or a minimum amount of payroll or something along those lines. So depending on what your business is, your only option may be to go through the State Workers Insurance Fund. So the State Workers Insurance Fund is the state-run option for workers' compensation coverage. There are some problems with going with the State Workers Insurance Fund that if you're with them or if you're looking at potentially going with them, you may be aware of. The first and foremost is that the prices are very, very expensive. Typically, you're looking at 40% more premium if you go with the State Workers Insurance Fund versus going with a private market or voluntary market workers' compensation policy. The other part is that the application process is a little bit outdated. It's all paper files. It takes a long time to hear back from them. It's hard to get a hold of them sometimes. So the State Workers Insurance Fund is good for a couple things. One, if you can't find coverage elsewhere. Two, if you're an independent contractor, you don't have any employees that you have to provide proof of workers' compensation coverage. State Workers Fund is basically the only option to get that through. Or if you're just starting out in business, you're hiring for the first time, State Workers Insurance Fund can be an option for you because, like I said earlier, a lot of insurance companies look for experience, prior workers' compensation experience when they're underwriting your file. So what options do you have if you're looking at the State Workers Insurance Fund? Well, number one, have you talked to an independent broker already? And what did they tell you about your options for workers' compensation? Years ago, it used to be that SWIF was the only option to start with. Now there's a lot more competition with workers' compensation. And unless you're in a really high risk, high exposure industry, there is a good option that we can get you private coverage. So if you're looking at SWIF and you're not sure if that's the right fit for you, give me a call first and we can talk it over. Usually if just a few minute conversation, I can give you an idea of whether or not SWIF is your best option, or if there's going to be options for through the voluntary market and private carriers.